family.
Yeah, and actually, after he died, she continued to live with Elizabeth until she died about 50 years later.
Yeah, Olive and Elizabeth stayed together they both lived long lives.
Yeah.
And so they were a family.
Yeah.
He and Elizabeth adopted the kids that he had by Olive. And Olive had a role. She would help with some of the lie detection research. And she had a role in getting him on his path to creating Wonder Woman.
And her aunt started the first birth control clinic in New York.
So she had an important...
which led to Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, she had an important connection in women's rights early on.
Yeah, it's sort of, Wonder Woman sort of needed these three people to be created. Not just Moulton Marston, but Willie Moulton Marston, but like Olive and Elizabeth as well. Those two wonderfully feminist women and their backgrounds all collided. And this trinity brought together Wonder Woman.
And people still speculate on the relationship. It's like, so what did Elizabeth say when he brings this girl home? But we don't know. But clearly they had a supportive relationship. Sheldon Mayer, the editor at DC, said, he went, he saw the family, the kids were great, they were well behaved. It looked like one of the happiest, healthiest families he'd ever seen.
Yeah, it wasn't really like a dark secret. If you visited the house, you figured it out. Like, okay, and everyone was just fine.
Olive's earliest role in getting the path to creation of Wonder Woman, Marston decided he wanted to get involved in comic books. He wanted to work for them. He wanted consultant work. And so he'd been writing for a magazine, but he and she together constructed an interview with him talking about comics. And he was talking about what great things they are, the potential they have, educationally and many other ways. And he made sure to praise Max Gaines. Who was Max Gaines?
In charge of DC.
He was in charge of the company that would become DC Comics. So he singles him out by name to praise him. And Max Gaines heard about this. It's like, oh, I want to know about this guy. We need to talk about our stuff being healthy. Let's see if this guy wants to be on our consulting board. So it worked out exactly as planned.
Yeah, he was a bit of a huckster, Marston, because for a while he would occasionally do sort of like get connections, quick schemes. He was very good at networking. Also wrote Greek god erotic fiction. There you can see like little parts of his life that we're slowly leading up to Wonder Woman.
He goes to work for the company, and the editor Sheldon Mayer said, "Would you like to create a superhero yourself?" And he goes home, he's telling Elizabeth, "I'm going to create a superhero." And she says, "You'd better make it a woman. We got enough guys. We need a superwoman." So Wonder Woman starts with Elizabeth telling him, "You need to make a superwoman." And he comes up with, what's her original name?
Yeah, it was Amazona?
No.
Or what was...
That's probably one of the things he brainstormed on was Suprema.
Suprema.
The Wonder Woman.
Right.
Like Robin the Boy Wonder.
Right.
And Sheldon Mayer thought, that's stupid. So he said, let's just go with the Wonder Woman part. Which could be a really important part of why this character is so iconic. If she wasn't the first superheroine, but plenty of other things with the stories and the quality of what was going on.
Yeah, she wasn't the first superhero heroine, and she wasn't the first hero in a dress either. Because arguably, you had cross-dressing superheroes even before her.
You had cross-dressing superhero before you actually had superheroines.
Yeah, unless you count Sheena, which I don't.
She's not a superheroine. She's just a
right. She's a chick in the
woman.
jungle. Yeah. I agree.
Within Marston's stories, he wove in his belief that women are better people than men. Yeah. His belief that love is a very powerful force, and that submitting to people, in loving bondage is a useful thing. So if Wonder Woman got bound, she would lose her powers. So she got bound a lot.
But she always got free.
She always got free.
She would. What I loved was when she would break out and actually be really annoyed. Like, they used such small chains on me. And she would be insulted by that. I didn't put enough effort in trying to bind me. Honestly.
Yeah, if she could break out of it when she lost her powers.
Yeah.
Well, particularly, she would break out when she was motivated enough too. There's one issue, one of my favorite issues, is where Ares shows up to her in the middle of the night, and I don't know, I got almost like an inkling that he took advantage of her. I don't know, that wasn't clearly explored, but he tied her up and he was basically mocking her as she was being tied up and telling her, you're weak, you're pathetic, and your compassion makes you weak. And as soon as he leaves, she frees herself and she says, he's wrong. My compassion is what makes me strong.
And actually that was a literal thing that happened in the Golden and Silver Age, in the same way that years later the Hulk would get stronger when he got angrier. Wonder Woman got stronger when she was really kicking into her compassion, especially if others were at risk. It actually increased her.
Yeah, and